Welcome to the Market Me podcast with your host, Mike Mall. Each episode of Market Me deconstructs real campaigns for actual businesses to improve their marketing efforts. Mike is the founder of Social Media House and a digital marketing consultant who teaches marketing strategy to executives and their teams from small business to Fortune 500 companies. Let's get started.
On this episode of the show, we're speaking with Sarah Taylor from Sarah Taylor Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Mike. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I know we were just talking off camera about the strange time we're living in, but we obviously moving our concepts and our businesses forward, and I love having these conversations, especially in the hard times, because I think a lot of innovation and creativity comes out of it. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm watching with sort of fascination to see how people are pivoting so quickly and moving with these, very uncertain times. And, a lot of people are, I think, finding new and innovative ways of keeping their businesses going. And I think that's very exciting to see, actually. It's very true that often in the times of greatest chaos come the greatest opportunities.
Yeah, no, I've heard that, and, I've been through kind of a wave of this in the past. So I've kind of felt the ebbs and flows. The first time I was very unprepared for it, and this time a little bit more so. So it's nice to have it the second way around. So tell me a little bit about yourself and the business. Okay,
well, very quickly, I'll give you a bit of my backstory. That might just sort of help set the context. You've probably read my bio, but just as a high-level overview, when I was 40, I was just newly single out of a 10-year relationship, and I was really kind of feeling very lost and alone and directionless in my life. I didn't really know where I was going at sort of 40. And I decided I was going to climb Mount Aconcagua, the highest mountain in South America, like you do, because it had always been a goal of mine to do anyway, because I love high-altitude trekking. But I went along to a gym and got a fitness assessment, and it put me in the obese category, which was just horrifying to me personally, because I've always been fit and sporty my whole life. I've just done sport my whole life. So my whole identity was tied up with being the fit chick, but very clearly I wasn't. So this sparked a huge, lifestyle transformation. I didn't go on any diets or anything like that. I just really changed my habits and behaviors around food. I hit the gym in a big way to get fit. I changed my goal to Mount Kilimanjaro instead. And by the time I actually climbed that mountain, I'd lost 25 kilos. I'd literally, changed my life around. I was like in the best shape of my life at sort of 41. Following that, however, my life fell apart. I ended up going through depression. And again, I used the strategies I used to lose the weight and get fit. I really focused on these habits and behaviors that I developed, and ended up pulling myself out of depression, getting even fitter in the process, and getting into bodybuilding by accident. And from there, the rest is history. I'm now 21 times World Bodybuilding Champion. But along the way, my whole life, I've always had a fascination of, diet, particularly nutrition in a healing perspective. So I've become a sort of a nutritional expert, nutritional healer, Ayurvedic practitioner. And I'm kind of getting myself a bit of a reputation as the person to go to if you're in the bit of a too hard basket. So what I do now is I coach bodybuilders to stage. I help people with weight loss transformations. I've actually got a specific healing program for menopausal women. So it's all based around nutrition, because I'm a full-blown celiac. I've had eczema, asthma, dairy intolerances my whole life, and I've always used food as a way of keeping myself healthy. It was Hippocrates who said, food is thy medicine. And I absolutely believe that. And that's what I've become a bit of a specialist in. So really that's my passion. And that's what I love helping people with is their diet and nutrition, particularly in a healing perspective. So that's really where I'm at the moment. I've also got a sort of split personality. In the business world, I've been in IT for 25 years, and I'm the COO and CTO of a startup company. And I'm also starting to get sort of develop, avenues of, more sort of coaching within the business world as well. I'm a mentor for I'm an IT mentor for 4 groups in Melbourne. one of which is a university and one of which is actually a recruiter. And I specialize in, I guess, communication for business influence and leadership. So I'm particularly passionate about advocating for women in leadership. So those are really my two sort of main, I guess, coaching streams.
Yeah, that's very busy and very impressive. So
It keeps me good.
So on the fitness side, are you primarily training people who are looking to compete, athletes, or is it kind of across the board?
I guess I've got three main streams. There's definitely the bodybuilding, which is much more of a niche. It's a very specialist aspect of it. Then I do coach people who are looking for general weight loss transformations. But I use a methodology called habit-based weight loss. So it's not a diet. It's basically a lifestyle change. It's using the strategies and tools and techniques that I developed when I lost my weight. And then the other one is the pure healing aspect of it. Like I say, I've got a menopause program, which I've had absolutely amazing results with. And I developed that when I went through menopause myself. I am 50, so, I developed that on the back of my own experiences, and I've had some fantastic results with that too.
Got it. And with the curriculum and these concepts that you put together, did it come from a place where you were coached and learned from others and took all those learnings, or just you did it all on your own and then that was the end result?
Look, a lot of it, I've pretty much figured it out myself. I mean, like I say, I just have a ferocious curiosity about everything, really. And once I did my own transformation, that really sparked an absolute, not quite, I don't want to use the word fanatical, but, a deep fascination about nutrition as a healing tool. And I just dived into absolutely everything I could find. And I very quickly learned how to do my own specialized, fat loss for the bodybuilding world. And then, like I say, through my own experiences, I developed this healing modality as well. So it's really self-taught. And I probably used myself pretty much as a lab rat for about 4 or 5 years. And I've literally tried every single diet out there just to see what it would do. Right. So I've done all of this experimentation pretty much on myself. So now I guess where I'm sitting is I've kind of gone through the sort of complicated mess of all of these sort of diet-related myths and things that people sort of kind of buy into, such as you shouldn't eat carbs after 6 o'clock. And I just kind of popped out the other side. And now I'm kind of methodology agnostic. But I have this incredible tool set that I can apply to anybody in any given situation. Which is wonderful, because I think that it allows me the ability to help, a far greater range of people. And like I just alluded to, I'm starting to get a bit of a reputation as being the person to go to if you're in a bit of a too hard basket. I did work with an obese lady in England who's got this condition called Charcot-Marie Tooth disease, and there's only 200,000 people in the world who have it. And it's kind of similar to multiple sclerosis in that it degrades the fascia of the muscle tubes, causing an awful lot of pain and loss of mobility. So she was a fascinating client, and I really loved working with her. But that's, like I say, she had this condition that only 200,000 people in the world have, and I was really pleased with her. We only worked together for 6 weeks, but she got at least 100. It's about 150% performance improvement in her mobility and her energy levels.
That's great. That's great. And so how do people come to find you? How do you market that business? Is it pretty much word of mouth and referral, or do you do marketing?
Yeah, look, it pretty much is referral. I guess throughout my own transformations and everything I've done, I actually had 7 blogs at one point. So a large part of my following has come through my blogs. So I'm certainly in Australia and definitely in the bodybuilding world, I'm very well known and respected. And that's where a lot of my clients come from, is through referrals and word of mouth and just knowing who I am. And it's the same thing with, I guess, with the weight loss people as well. I have used social media quite a lot, so definitely Facebook and Instagram. Those are my main tools. I haven't really had any specific targeted marketing campaigns. Like I say, I find that people just come to me at the right time for both me and them, which is kind of interesting. Got it.
That's a unique scenario. You don't see that a lot.
No, I'm sure what I like to do is, I actually don't like to do huge groups at the moment. I'd rather focus on sort of high quality, low volume. That's where I'm at. So that's actually why I really haven't focused on, I guess, any marketing campaigns, and I actually don't have an online course. However, having said that, I am literally just about in the next week about to launch a new program in China. But I'm actually working with a partner who's doing all the marketing and promoting. See, that's, I guess the reason I've held off really from doing a lot of the marketing and promoting is it's not my skill. My skill is a coach. My skill is helping people and coaching them and mentoring. That's my skill. So the marketing is not really my forte. And I actually find it a bit of a battle, to be quite honest. So it was a former client of mine who's come to me with this suggestion, and she's doing all the marketing and promoting, and all I have to do is the coaching. So that's a model that, straight away I said, yep, that's brilliant, because that's a model that I think will really, really work well for me, because it's not taking me away from the coaching, which is what I love doing. So we're aiming to get 500 people into this first group, which is a huge amount of people. And of course, it's all online. Well, it has to be online because I'm in Australia and all the clients are going to be in China. So it's all online. But of course, with technology being so good now, of course, that's become so easy. So this is going to be interesting to see how it goes, because this will be my first big group program. I'm actually stoked about it and really excited.
That's great. Yeah, and I mean, I've been running virtually for a really long time. Zoom has been my best friend for years. But it's funny. There's a lot of companies I just see popping out of the woodworks right now of online teaching, online training, online classrooms. I actually ran into a guy here in Mexico yesterday. He has like an online schooling platform. It just seems like they're just all of a sudden out of the woodworks because there's so much demand for them all of a sudden.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've put out just I guess again through my own sort of fascination with stuff. A number of my competition preparations I've actually videoed and sort of video logged. I got away from the actual writing blogging to video blogging, and I literally just went back through some of those videos yesterday, and I was like, wow, this stuff is gold. It really is just gold. And I've got a series of, I did a 4-week photo shoot preparation, just a weight loss for a photo shoot, and I thought I'll just document it, thinking that I'd have 4 videos. 22 videos later in this 4-week cut, I just looked at this stuff and I went, that's an online program. So I'm literally, today my job is to put that up on Teachable, and I now have a whole brand new online program called the Champion Lifestyle.
Amazing. Yeah. It's funny when you do the same thing effectively over and over and over and over again, having recordings of it literally is an online course. It's pretty crazy how it works. And, you add in these little components, or you add in these little documents to help support the content. But yeah, it is pretty cool. I think, one thing I'm working on some online programming as well. And I think we'd probably be fairly similar in saying that I wouldn't be happy putting something out that I don't feel goes way beyond the price of it. That was my big hesitation. It's like, if I put something out and charge $500 for it, I want them to feel like it's worth $5,000.
I'm totally with you. I'm such an people keep saying to me, God, you're such an overachiever. It's like, well, who goes and wins 21 world bodybuilding titles for a start off? I mean, isn't 1 or 2 enough? No. I had to go and get 21.
Had to keep going. And this is consecutive.
So I totally understand where you're coming from.
So let me ask, how do you split your time between the fitness stuff and then the IT stuff? Obviously, being an overachiever and working in a crazy amount of hours is part of it, but how do you kind of like mentally split your brain between the things?
Well, again, this comes down to strategies that I've developed, over a whole years. I mean, with my working life, in my sort of corporate world, I learned very early on a couple of lessons, and I've always just stuck to a 9 to 5. It doesn't matter how busy I am, I stick to 9 to 5. That's it. I leave the office at 5 o'clock every single day. Doesn't matter what's going on. And now that I'm COO and CTO, I still leave the office at 5 o'clock every day. And actually one of my team, I've got a team of 12, and she said to me, she said, Sarah, how can you be doing all of this job, running the whole delivery, doing about 5 or 6 different hats, and your coaching and your bodybuilding coaching and preparing your own competition and all of this stuff without any stress? And it's just because I've developed these habits and techniques for really, I guess, time boxing putting boundaries around my time so that it doesn't interfere. So like I say, I have very specific times when I do bodybuilding coaching. I have very specific times of the week when I do just weight loss coaching. And I've actually managed to wangle myself into a position with my full-time job where I actually only do 3 days a week. So I've now got to the situation, I've got that company running so efficiently that I actually really don't need to be there. And now that we're all online, it's brilliant. We do 2 check-ins a day, and that's it. So it's my full-time corporate job is actually only taking me 2 hours a day, which is brilliant. So now I have a good solid 4, if not 5 days a week, really, time-wise, to focus on my coaching. So I'm really taking advantage of this current situation to do whatever I can and put courses in place, put information in place, and really start to grow my coaching business, because this is really where I want to go.
Yeah. So I'd love to dive in a little bit deeper. So I talk to a lot of people who have a corporate job or work for a certain company, and then they fantasize about these ideas of having the side hustle and building something up on my own. And you said something interesting about time boxing. I'm wondering, could you elaborate, or maybe, obviously we can't get super deep into every method of it, but maybe a couple of like real straightforward best practices or some things that people could think about in terms of like taking control of their time a little bit better. Would you share some of the top level?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple of very simple things that I do, and like I say, it comes from the person themselves actually taking responsibility for their time and actually creating boundaries and pushing back. So you have to take personal responsibility first thing. Okay. What I do is, I guess it sort of kind of evolved organically. Like I say, I learned a couple of lessons very early on in my working life that made me decide that I was only going to work 9 to 5. And I've maintained that pretty much my whole corporate life. And when I got into the bodybuilding, I suddenly started realizing that, I had to be very, very disciplined with my training and my food for the bodybuilding. So it's like, I need to make this work for me. So what I started doing in my corporate world, this was before I'd even really started getting into coaching, so I was literally just working a job. I started block booking my meals. Now this sounds a bit weird, but I would literally block book my meals 3 times a day. I would put in my Outlook calendar eating. And then I would make a point of not being at my desk at those times that I was eating. Now, I don't need to know when to eat. I know very well when I needed to eat, but what I needed to do was train others that this was important to me and not to be interrupting me. And then if people did book meetings over my eating times, I would just push back and say, no, here's another time.
Right.
So I started enforcing boundaries. So that was really the first thing that I did, is I started block booking time for me. And then when I do get exceptionally busy, because I'm running sort of 12 people, and that's quite a lot, I book me time as well. So I'll go out for a walk every single day. That definitely helps your mental health as well as your physical health. And I certainly recommend that everybody does that. When you have your lunch, go out for a walk every day, just to go see daylight. It's really good just for your headspace. But again, when everything's going crazy, sometimes you just need a little bit of space to step back and breathe. So I'd go out for a walk. Okay. So these are just a couple of little, very simple things that anyone can do to create space and create time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think, especially with the working from home thing, one thing I've developed over time is,
Sorry.
no problem. And I recommend it for other people who are really struggling with, okay, but I wake up and then like my computer's staring at me. I'm like, no, it's not. You're forcing yourself because you get into this habit. So it's like, for me, I've worked from home for a long time. Like I don't look at my computer until 10 if I can avoid it.
That's right. Exactly. Create yourself both a morning and evening routine. So my morning routine is I wake up and I meditate. I give myself some space not to jump straight into oh my God, I've got this to do and this to do. A lot of people do that. And that's why they're so constantly stressed, because they wake up and go, oh, this and this and this. Don't do that. If you look at all of the habits of all of the billionaires, they probably spend the first 2 or 3, even 4 hours of the day doing stuff for them, stuff that keeps them healthy, such as meditating, reading books, exercising, making sure they have a proper breakfast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they get into now I'll do my emails. But all of them, they have finite times when they do stuff. So they'll have an email time. It might be 9 to 9:30, then 4:30 to 5. That's another thing you could do. Just do your emails at specific times, because, God, emails is the biggest, and emails and social media are the biggest time chewers of anybody. So I don't do that. I do my emails in the morning and I do my emails in the evening, and that's it. Again, it's putting those boundaries in place and teaching people around you how you operate.
Yeah.
And when I'm working from home, because I work, now that I'm working home 4 days a week, literally I could sit up in bed, pick my laptop up, and I'm at work. But I don't do that. I do my meditation. I go and have a good breakfast. I do my meditation, then I go and train, and then I have some breakfast. And about 3 hours later, I pick my laptop up, and then I'm at work. You have to resist that temptation.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I think people get stuck in the almost like the spitball of like, well, now I'm up and now I got to check my Instagram, and I've opened my phone, which has my email, which has this on it. So I got to do this. And they really don't, I feel like people don't live intentionally. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. And this is another thing. Phones, I guess, I don't have my work email on my phone, and that's very deliberate. When I leave the office, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, that's it until the next day. Phones have an off button. Turn it off. Again, it's about, like you say, it is. It's all about really taking responsibility for your own actions. You can control your time. It's just that you're choosing not to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very true. And it sounds like, it sounds like a lot of the methodology came from the training side first and then spun up into the corporate side. Did you have that kind of established almost before you went into a corporate?
Well, I certainly had this. I kind of had the 9 to 5 boundary established before I got into the bodybuilding, but absolutely the discipline I've had to develop for the bodybuilding has absolutely translated back into every aspect of my life. And like I say, and I attribute that to why I'm able to perform at this high level now. Like I say, I'm a C-level executive. I never thought I'd ever never apply those words to me, but yes, right. I am. All of a sudden I find myself, I'm at this C-level, and I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm gaining a reputation as an authority in the business world in Melbourne as well. So what is it that I do that other people are not doing? And it comes down to these behaviors and taking responsibility for my time and controlling my time and creating these boundaries and these routines.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes, I love it all. And actually, funny enough, like I try and live this way, and there's so many times where I catch myself partway through, and I'm just like, I'll wake up and I'll start doing something, and 30 minutes in, I'm like, wait, I'm not supposed to be doing this yet. Like, I can't stop now. I got to keep going.
Yeah, look, and there's another very good technique that I learned off a guy called Ed Dale. He seems to have dropped off the planet a bit recently, but he was massive when internet marketing first came out and digital marketing. He was absolutely the guru, and he had this concept called critical focus time, and there's other people who do this as well. But essentially, what you do in critical focus time, and it's a way to boost productivity very quickly, is you set a timer. Because I don't know if you found this, but most people operate better and more efficiently and more productively when they've got a deadline, an impending deadline. You might have found it during your exams. You're like, oh yeah, it's weeks away, and then all of a sudden you're cramming. Oh, my exams tomorrow, help! You've got this hard impending deadline, so you're compelled to act. And people, human beings in general, we're better when we've got this hard deadline. We actually act, otherwise we procrastinate, and like you say, we dive down into the cat videos. So you have this thing called critical focus time, and you set a timer for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever that your time's going to be. And you literally just sit down and you do what you're going to do for 30 minutes. Then the timer goes off and you put it away and you go do something else for about 5 minutes. And you can set multiple critical focus times. Right. But in each time you have a break and go away and defry your head, think of something else. That's when you can potentially set your social media. But if you do that, then set a timer that you're only going to be on Facebook for 5 minutes, because like you say, all of a sudden there's another hour gone and your whole productivity's shot. So it works really well in practice. You have to practice it though.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I've been down a rabbit hole recently, like maybe 2 or 3 days, where I've been checking out TikTok, because I'm always in the media and the content space. You keep up to date, right? I'm not making content on it, but you keep up to date and you find a couple of people like that are funny. There's a couple of magicians that I found that are like making amazing content. And I looked up and I was like, it has not been an hour since I started. Oh no. Yeah. So it happens to the best.
Yeah, there's actually an advert on telly in Melbourne at the moment, or in Australia, and it's for an energy drink, but yeah, is essentially the person just dives into this surreal world, and he goes, what just happened? And this cat playing the drums goes, you've got lost in the procrastination zone, and there's all of these cat videos in the background kind of thing. So yeah, it's a thing.
Love it. Well, look, I mean, it was an absolute pleasure. I think some of the things you said, you hear these things in various places. Sometimes you see them as quotes, some of the things you touched on, but I think contextually, to have somebody like you with your accomplishments and all the awesome things that you've been able to do, say it is that simple. Just take responsibility, block off time, own your time, and stop being silly with it. So no, it's really great.
It's kind of easier said than done in a way. I mean, like I say, it didn't just happen overnight. You have to practice these things, but you do have to start. That's the key. You have to start doing these things and then keep reinforcing them. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Where can people find your content, and then B, your programs?
Okay, you're best to find me on LinkedIn. There's Sarah Taylor, diet and nutrition expert, I think, is one of them. Or on Facebook, I've got a page, Sarah Taylor, the Champion Lifestyle.
Well, I'll link them all up in the show notes.
Okay, good, beautiful.
And then, the online program, that's only going to be specifically for China at this point.
At the moment, yes, but like I say, all of the content from that I found 2 years ago from my photo shoot, I will be putting that up in a Teachable course, and that will also be through my Champion Lifestyle Facebook page.
Awesome. So the best to connect there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right.